Perfect. Thank you, Rohan. So today we will be discussing about control management, which is a very, very important part of any endurance ride. As Rohan suggested earlier, that I have been focusing a lot on control management. The primary reason is I've learned from my mistakes in the past, where we lose a lot of time on control station. We take it really casually, and when in events like PBP, LEL, you have 14 to 16 control points, where if you end up spending half an hour and 1 hour in each and every control station, you would be spending 14 hours and it just flies away like that. You won't even realize 14 hours of your ride has gone. So I'll be just discussing about control management today. It will be a quick 15 minutes discussion. Then we can have a Q&A where you could share your queries. Then we could discuss that from there on. Before I start, wanted to just introduce myself. I work at Trek Bicycles in Gurgaon, head office. I've been part of the setup phase of Trek in India, and presently I handle the sales, dealer development, and training for North and East regions of India. That's regarding my work profile. Apart from that, I have been cycling for the last 1 decade, where the primary, like where you could see the two marquee events has been PBP and LEL. I did PBP in 2019. The timing was 87 hours 30 minutes. In LEL, it was a late finish, where most of the learnings have come from, where I'll be sharing that. Apart from that, roundineuring has been there since beginning from 2015. Each and every year till 2019, I was doing the SR. And apart from that, few endurance long distance rides in India, where I have done it with Rohan as well. 1,000, 1,200, 1,400 kilometers, and also did an event which is quite unique called Flesh, where you have it's also part of, it is organized by Audax, where you have to ride with a team of minimum 4 members, and you have to ride non-stop for 24 hours. So our team covered 472 kilometers on that. Apart from that, before getting into international events, I did few endurance races as well. There was an event called Desert 500, which started from Jodhpur to Pokhran and back, 500 kilometers. I did that in 22 hours 15 minutes. I feel one of the most toughest hostile conditions, and it was a huge learning for me back then. So right now, these days after PVP, I have not been much into long distance or endurance riding. I have been more into indoor cycling, a little more strength training. And whenever I travel to different cities, I try to take my cycle along or get a cycle on rent and cycle across the hill. So that is what is my focus these days. How I'm into cycling, and where I like to mentor people. And whenever someone comes with any query, like few people went for LEL last time, I had a similar discussion with them just to help them from my experience. Because when I did LEL, I don't think so anyone from North India did LEL back in 2017. So we learned it the hard way. And after learning and understanding from the mistakes, I was able to improve that and finish PVP within time. So that's it. That's it about myself. Rohan, you can go to the next slide, please. Perfect. So what to expect in PVP, especially during in control stations? You must have already gone through a lot of vlogs, videos. So, but just reiterating it, there will be 14 checkpoints during the ride. It is mandatory for us to enter into the checkpoints, and to get yourself stamps. The checkpoints are usually schools or any community places where you have a good facility, a good cafeteria, and usually in a basketball court. They used to that would if a place has a basketball court, you would be able to have a sleeping facility there as well, right? So similarly, those will be typically how your checkpoints would be. Next, in terms of when you are in those checkpoints, you can expect about 200 bicycles being parked. So one of the key mistakes what I have seen or what happened with me was, when there are 200 bicycles parked, you kind of miss out where you have kept your bicycle, and you are in that mental frame of mind that you won't be able to identify which is your bike, where have you kept it. So whenever you make sure you're parking your bicycle, it has to be really unique or really different, or you need to make sure that you remember where you have parked your bicycle. It's very, very critical. So this is one thing which I wanted to highlight. Second is, there would be a long queue for food in the control points. So there are two things: either you have to be ready that you are there in the queue. But what I did was, and in PvP, trust me, there would be a lot of support during the route. There would be people who would be on the route cheering you, ale ale ale. They will be serving bananas, sandwiches, and all those things. And there will be a lot of departmental stores as well on the route. So rather than eating in the checkpoints, you could rather have it during the route. And similarly for washroom as well, there'll be a long queue in the washroom. So these are the a few areas where you could save your time. Next is, don't you will be getting carried away with the aura of the checkpoints. There would be people who would be sleeping. There would be people who will be having a beer or having a good time. They will be chilling around. You should know your strength and weaknesses, right? This is your first international event. You're going there for a purpose. The people who do that are basically who are doing PvP for the fourth or fifth time. They want to just enjoy. It's like a carnival for them. But if you're going there with a mission to finish that in time, don't get carried away with the aura, right? Next is also people, they kind of regroup in those checkpoints. There are few riders who ride slow, who ride fast, who are good in hill climbing. They use these checkpoints to regroup. If you're waiting in the checkpoint to regroup, you should be really knowing that rider who is riding along with you, right? I was during my PvP experience, I was riding with a really close friend of mine, Amandeep, my childhood buddy, with whom I have cycled a lot, who have done a lot of international events, who have done a lot of 1,000 kilometers or a lot of BRMs together. Even during that ride, we kind of discussed, if I am falling behind, please don't wait for me. Let's carry along until unless there is something really serious or something really critical. So have that discussion with your team, because you won't be doing PvP every year, right? It happens once in 4 years, and make sure you're not wasting time in just regrouping. Even if you have a big group, make sure you're breaking that group in split of twos. That is what my suggestion would be, in order to save time waiting in the control point. And last but not the least, in the control point, you would also be able to have a bike technicians, where you could just give your bicycle for a quick tune up, lubricate your bike, and just check the gear setting, brake setting, because over a period of time, it your bicycle gear might cause some issues, right? So I got that fixed for my bike. This is what you could expect. Now, how neat? I've already reiterated few things how you can be efficient, but selecting a right start time, that will help you guys a lot when you are planning an endurance ride like PvP or LEL, especially PvP, because there will be a lot of riders who would be riding. There will be close to about 6,500 riders, I believe, who would be participating in this event. So in each and every ballot, there would be close to about 200 to 50 riders. So the earlier you start, you will be able to get more time to finish the ride. In terms of the checkpoints won't be closed, right? So the checkpoint gets closed as soon as the last group finishes. So if yours is early, and even if you are not reaching the checkpoint within time, you will be sure that the control point would be open. So you could make out time to cover up the pace or cover up whatever it is, right? So having a start would help you in terms of the checkpoints will be open even if you miss out on your time space. Second is, you would be able to get enough riders to draft along. Right? These are the two broad points how it will help if you start early. Second is, prepare an event plan in an Excel sheet. And it has helped me a lot in my ride plan. As I just reiterating, this is your individual event. Don't be dependent on someone else's plan or Excel sheet. If I give you a plan, just don't go for the sake of it. You need to evaluate your strength. You need to understand how you would be placed during the ride. When I talk about Excel sheet, what I mean is I will be sharing that in the end. Each and every checkpoint, what time you're anticipating that you will finish that checkpoint, how much time you anticipate that you'll be spending in that checkpoint, and where you would be planning to take your sleep. Right. So have that planned really well, so that you are also mentally prepared when you're riding the event. Because when you are riding during the event, your mental state of mind is at a different level altogether. You won't realize what is happening with you, because you have just climbed 5,000 meters, and after that, in order to just evaluate what is happening next, if it will be really tough until unless you have an Excel sheet or something written or something memorized really hard in your mind. So it was that. Third point is, I've already iterated, remember where you have parked your bike. Fourth is, avoid eating and spending a lot of time on the time stations. There are a lot of options on the route. I've mentioned that earlier. Use power banks to recharge. Yes. So instead of spending time in the checkpoint, in the check post or checkpoint, whatever, finding the electric socket, you need to. I was carrying 2000 mAh battery along with me and one in my backdrop, to make sure that I'm not there to find anything. I'm self-sufficient, self-reliant in that way. So use your own power bank to recharge your stuff. And last but not the least, visualize your ride, the epic event, crossing the finish mark, and enjoying your drink just before the event or day before your event. If you visualize things happening in a positive way, visualizing things that you are kicking the climb really well, so you will be making, and definitely you will be able to achieve that without any fear. Right? Don't fear the climbs. Take the climbs as a challenge and enjoy the climbs. So that is what I would like to say about how to be more efficient and what to expect in the control points and during the event. So Rohan, you can just go to the next slide. I'll just show you. Yeah. So this is the Excel sheet that I prepared. It's a little blurry, and but you get the zest of it in terms of the Rohan. If you could just move the cursor toward the control points. So those are the control points which I have mentioned. Ramboli, starting from there, and each and every control point, how much time I would be taking, what is the distance, what is the elevation, what is the average speed that I would be expecting, and after the average speed, how much time I would be reaching in those stations, what time I will be arriving. So I will be mentally preparing myself कि रात को पहुंचूंगा ये दिन में पहुंचूंगा, and what time I would be spending in each and every checkpoint, managing that, what time I will be leaving. So having that in an Excel sheet, visualizing that, that will help you a lot. Because as I reiterated earlier, we get carried away with the aura which is there during the event. So have a plan in place. Don't spend much time in a checkpoint. If I have mentioned 1 hour in each and every checkpoint, make sure you're not spending more than half an hour. Right? That this was during my planning stage, but that refined during the time of the event when I was not keeping up with the average speed that I wanted while cycling, or my heart rate was going higher than I expected. So have a plan B, plan C in place as well. So you could also see below what is the time of the sunrise and sunset. So accordingly, you can plan your sleep, you could plan your checkpoints, you could plan where you want to keep your bag accordingly. So that's it. What I wanted to share regarding my plan. Any questions? Please do let me know.